I've seen such a thing before. Does this have to stay? Who's this?
Mine.
Does it have to stay right here, or can it be a little?
It can be a little bit open.
Oh, it's nice. Nice. Good morning, everybody. Thanks for joining. I'll just give a brief summary of where we're at so far. I think obviously this is the final day of the formal camp. We get started tomorrow. I was very happy first off with the way our prospects performed in Buffalo at the Prospects Challenge there to kind of start things off for us. I thought JD Forrest and Aaron Keesley had the group well prepared and went in and they performed well to get us off on the right foot. In particular, I think Sam Poulin, Braden Yeager, Joel Bloomquist, Avery Hayes, and Jack St. Ivany really showed well at that camp, and then all those prospects kind of stacked a good training camp in Pittsburgh on top of that. So that was very positive, especially from my perspective coming in and getting to know those people at the prospect level, like familiarizing myself more with our prospect pool was important for me. That we got some great performances there. It's been great the last couple days or week. We've had Owen Pickering back and practicing with our group. It's great to see Owen out there. He's obviously a highly touted prospect and one of the guys that we're counting on here down the road. So it's been great to see him back from injury and getting NHL practices before he gets back to Swift Current here in the next day or so. With regards to our actual training camp, I think all of us enjoyed the competition that was there. Thought the coaching staff did an excellent job throughout the summer getting ready and preparing the guys going into camp. I was extremely impressed with Sully, Todd, Mike Felucci, Andy Kyoto, Ty Hennis, and the way that they had the team ready for training camp, and then the execution of the installation of the different systems day in and day out was a lot of fun to watch and see how they went about their business on a day-to-day basis. Certainly can see why Sully is regarded how he is, having the chance to work with him day in and day out since June. With regards to our team at this point, I think we're very, very happy with the competition in camp between the players and where it's netted out. We're still in the final process of making some final decisions, as happens at this time of year. We have till today at 5 p.m. to do so. We're going to take all of our time, see what happens on the waiver wire at 2 o'clock, and then submit our final roster by 5. But in all likelihood, we'll start with 22 players on our roster and be ready to roll from there. I think I'm very happy with the depth that we have, especially up front. And we've got a little bit fortunate on the waiver wire there with some of our depth guys getting through. I think that gives us a lot of options as the year goes on. So with what we start with today and tomorrow, certainly we're expecting our guys that have already gone down to Wilkes-Barre Scranton to continue to push and keep the pressure on. And I think that the players who are here know the level of competition that it was, and that'll help us as a team throughout the year and continuing to foster that type of competition and push everyone to be at their absolute best. From the front office side, I think been very happy with our group and especially we've added Doug Wilson and Trent Mann in the last month or so. They add a great level of experience. It's be very, very helpful to me and to our whole group there as well. So all that said, we're at the very end of camp. I think generally is a very positive and optimistic feeling all throughout the building and throughout the facility about the team. Now I think it's up to us as a group and up to the team to turn that optimism and turn it into an earned confidence. And I think last year the group here found out full well how important every single point is, and so starting tomorrow night we have a chance to start to try to put those on the board and get rolling. So that said, I'll turn it over to any questions that anyone has. Fire away.
Questions? Josh, right here.
Hey Kyle, I wanted to ask you about Jay Kensel. He's going into the last year of his contract. How big of a priority is it for you to try to lock him up? Would you be willing to talk with Ben during the season, or are you comfortable letting this go until next off season?
Well, I've got a great relationship with Ben, Josh, and the major priority right now has just been on Jake's health. So there's been no real focus on anything other than the health portion of it, and seeing he had surgery late early August, and he's pushed, as I think most people in the room know better than I, is a day-to-day the level of competitor that he is unsurprising. So it's not a true surprise that he's at this point and trying to push his way to be ready to go for tomorrow. We'll see how it goes today and tomorrow morning, and because as Sully's outlined, it'll be a kind of a day-by-day decision. We have to do what's right for him in the long run. With regards to the contract, I think it's with Ben and I's relationship, we can have a discussion about that as he wants, but it's right now the priority has been on his health and getting him back up to 100%.
Taylor?
Through the preseason, just what have been your initial impressions of how Erik Karlsson's fit here, especially on the power play?
Well, I'm not so much. I know that like we all know that special teams are hugely important, but I don't put a whole lot of stock into the preseason portions of it. I think we'll get into the year. Todd has done a great job being prepared on that front, and I don't think I don't have a whole lot of question personally as to how Eric's going to fit on the power play with the group. I think Erik is the type of player instinctually that's going to find a way to make it fit and work. No, everyone is not going to have to adjust around him. He'll find a way to get the most out of others as he facilitates. My impressions of him off the ice have been, I've been extraordinarily impressed with him, his energy that he brings every day, but also the professionalism, how hard he works, the condition that he came into camp in. It was not something that I knew when we acquired him to that degree. I knew he was very well prepared, very professional. Obviously his pedigree speaks for itself, but to see how prepared he was and what he does each day to get himself ready for practice, ready for games has been quite impressive. So, and then the energy level and confidence that he brings each day has been it's been great to see and well received by everybody, and it's been quite refreshing, and he's a lot of fun to have.
Seth, your forward.
Happy Thanksgiving, by the way.
It's Columbus Day, right?
Is there Thanksgiving in the north too?
Yeah. You say Happy Columbus Day?
Happy Thanksgiving.
Sure, but it is Columbus Day, right?
That's correct. Yes.
You're both right.
Do you say Happy Columbus Day? Or
Just do.
Okay. Happy Columbus Day, Seth.
Thank you. Jeff Carter, outstanding career, he's a prominent player in this league right now. It looks like maybe more of a fourth line role for him. Just what's been your observations of how he's maybe adapted to that role, and just what do you think he can still offer to this team at this stage of his career?
Well, it's. I mean, I've known Jeff a very long time, and so you know what he's about. He's had a wonderful career already, and I think at this point, what I've seen with him is, it's interesting because when I was previous, and we have Jason Spezza here on our staff, and it was very similar, right? Outstanding career, high in the lineup, and then late in his 30s, it adapted into a lower in the lineup role and contributed to the team in many different facets. So Jeff, to me, he's in that role now, but I think it's he's lining up there now. But is he capable of doing more if needed during the year? That's what we're trying to always have that depth and have him prepared to do. But we try to build out the team deep enough so we didn't have to rely on every single person to be firing on all cylinders at all times, because it's just not going to happen during the course of a year. So we try to build out the team so it's deep enough so we can slot people a little bit lower and then try to get the most out of them. And in Jeff's case, I think he's had a very good training camp. He had a very good training camp, good exhibition season, and I think the doubt that may be there will probably fuel him to show that he's still capable of being a strong and contributing member of a contending team, and that's what we expect from him.
Dan on your left.
Kyle, are you satisfied with your bottom six forwards? Why, or maybe what might you want to improve?
I don't know that you ever feel fully satisfied. You're always trying to improve the team every single day, any way that you can. Without tinkering just for the sake of tinkering. At this point, I would say, from where we hope to be when we walked into camp, Dan, yeah, I am happy with where it's at right now. Not only with what's there right now, with the group and with the addition of Harkins last week, but also with the play of a lot of the players during training camp, whether that was Zahorna, Hinestroza, Nylander, Janssen, Puustinen, all those guys perform quite well, and so I'm happy both with where it's at right now, but also the options that we have in case there is some ineffectiveness, that we're able to move guys in there. I mean, Drew O'Connor had an excellent camp. He's up in the lineup right now. If Jake, when Jake is good to go, Drew, now we know he's capable of playing up there, but he'll slot down into the into the bottom six per se, but you know, that option and knowing that we have those options, I think, is a real positive for us. So I'm happy with it now, but I'm also very happy with the depth that's there and what's available.
Wes, right here.
Kyle, you mentioned what the team went through last season. I think any one person can probably have their own idea of what success is, but to you, what's the minimum that this group would have to accomplish for you to consider the season successful?
I try never to put it in the look at it, what's a bare minimum. I think that the standard that's set here when you walk in every day is that the group expects that they're going to win each day and that they're going to stack all those days one on top of the other, and it's going to lead to contending and winning the Stanley Cup. That's the only thing that's talked about here, and the only thing that the people within the room strive for. And I know that based on the fact that the team missed the playoffs last year, that on the outside there's not that same belief, and I think that's totally fair. It's up to us to earn that belief back, and for me, it's been great to be a part of that group and try to help as best I possibly can, learn from them and what's got them to hold that as their standard, and try to supplement and add to the group as best we possibly can across everything, roster, staff, systems, to try to help the team get its way back to winning the Stanley Cup again. So I think if we don't do that, everyone will look back and say we didn't reach our objective. I think at the end of the year, it's easier to look back and say the year was successful or not. But as of right now, it's focused on having a great start to the year, having a great final practice day today, and then just keep stacking every single day one on top of the other, and put ourselves back to where the Pittsburgh Penguins want to be.
A few more, Rob.
Kyle, every year it's discussed, at least in the media and sometimes by coaches, about the league moving in a certain style based off who wins. The Penguins brand has been scoring and skill. They seem to have that with the team you've built this year. Do you feel that is a counterpunch to the way the league is going? And why did you feel strongly about building the team that way?
Yeah, I think that when you, in trying to study it and learn from the previous mistakes that I've made, Rob, and there have been plenty well documented, and there'll be more. I think that when you build your plan or you build your system out, you have to build it very thoroughly in a way that what your team wants to be about. So how you want to play, how you want to acquire players, the type of coaching staff you want, type of people you have in your facility across all systems, but and departments. When it comes to style of play, I think the biggest, when I look back at my own mistakes or errors, or just trying to study them across the league and other sports, it's when you have your system built out and you've fallen a little bit short, and then you adapt it based on the team that's won the last year, and you don't stick with your you don't stand by your convictions, and you don't stick with your way of operating here, because Sully says the DNA of the team is offense. So if we try to flip that at this stage, it's not really something that I believe in, and it's not really something that the group in the locker room believes in, and the group has been successful by playing that way and winning that way. And I think the easy retort would be, well, they haven't won of late. And my view is that it's on, when it doesn't work out, and when we fall short, it's on me in this role to try to get us back to that point. I think that's part of it comes with this role. You get judged on it. When it doesn't go well, it's on me at the end. So my view of it is, we're going to continue to build that way, supplement it, add around it with anything that we need. If it doesn't work at the end of the year, that's on me, and I take responsibility for that. So I think that the group here has had success in a certain way. My beliefs are that our fall, and I think that why this was a great fit for me and for our family, was that my beliefs are very closely tethered to that. They're not identical, and so we're just got to continue to build out that way and look back at what hasn't worked, look back at where we've been a bit short, and try to adapt and bring in different people that can help us move there.
Nick in the back.
Kyle, you just spoke pretty highly of the prospects in the system. Is it feasible to say that some of the elder ones, like Sam Poulet, might be able to see extended time at the NHL level this season?
Yeah, I don't think Sam is that old, but I mean he's been in the system for a while. You know, I think with Sam, I was really proud of Sam and the camp that he had, and I think he should be very proud of himself. It's well documented what he went through last year, and so for him to come in and right from day one of training of the prospect tournament, practice day, through to when we assigned him down last week, the decision to assign him down was, I just feel like he's going to be better suited playing huge minutes for Wilkes-Barre and being a hugely reliable player for Wilkes-Barre, especially considering the time missed last season, than he would be as the 12th or 13th forward here and playing center there and playing it well. So I think that if Sam just keeps on stacking up the days and weeks as he has, early here in September through October, that he's going to push himself to earn his way back on. So can I see him spending significant time in the NHL this year? Absolutely, based on everything we've seen from him so far.
Right here on your left.
Alex Nylander is trying to make his way into his league. What do you feel like are the missing pieces for him to make that happen?
I think with Alex, I think everyone. If you go back through his camp, I thought the first game, exhibition game against Columbus, he was outstanding, and then in the subsequent games and practices, I thought he dipped a little bit. And I think when the conversation with Alex in the years that he clearly has at the end of the camp when we put him on waivers was that, you know, and I've seen Alex, he played in the OHL in Mississauga in his draft year, and obviously very familiar with the family. I think the thing with Alex that I see is he has the talent. It's just continuing to execute on it every single day in practice and in game. I would be shocked if by the end of the year he hasn't established himself as a full-time NHL guy, and that's my expectation of him. And the conversation with him is he recognized was just having to continue to keep that focus and consistency on a day-to-day basis in training and practice, and then that'll translate itself to the game. So that's what we're pushing Alex on. Obviously, there's a huge amount of belief in him. He was re-signed here last year at the end of the year. He earned his way up at the end of the year last year. And where we want to get with Alex is that he's able to use his talent and his strength on the puck to exert that every single day across 82 games. And I know that's the absolute top that we're aiming for, and that's where we need to push him to.
Last one working.
Kyle, what was the first thing you thought of when you saw Sidney Crosby going after Peyton Krebs in Buffalo the other night? And my real question is, when you think of a team's identity, where does that rank as far as team toughness, sticking up for each other? Where does that rank for your hockey team?
Well, I never like to see Sid fighting, but I loved the moment for the team because I think you hear all these things about Sid when you come in here, and then every single day you see a number of things that back it all up because you can't really believe on the outside that it's real, and it's more than real. And every day you see more and more things from him on the leadership side, commitment, how he brings other people with him to everything. It's not just about him and his routine. He wants the team to be together. I think the thing that I didn't like was in the Wednesday night game against Detroit. We had a couple of their guys go after Harkins, and we didn't really do anything about it. We just tried to get through it and skate to the bench. And when I've always observed the Penguins from the outside, so whenever there's something that happens in a game, they attack it as a group, and it's team toughness. There's not a true enforcer per se, but you know you're not going to get away with anything against them, even if the team's a little bit bigger and a little bit more physical, that they're going to stand up for themselves. And so I think Sid embodies that most, unsurprisingly, and it was great to see him do that on Friday, and I think it sets the tone for our team going into the year about what's expected if we find ourselves in those situations. And with Sid, he's accomplished nearly everything you can want to accomplish in hockey. He has accomplished everything you want to accomplish, but the amazing thing about him is that you see on the practice day in Cole Harbour as an example, he skates it onto the ice and he has the biggest smile on his face that you could imagine seeing from a hockey player. And he loves it an incredible amount, loves leading the group, and is determined to continue to win. And I think we should never take for granted how special that is to be around someone like that each day.
Thanks, Kyle.